The MT25, the Russian Tier 6 light tank that really does pack a punch. In fact, I think it's that Baba Yaga of Tier 6. What's it like though? Is it a nice tank? Let's have a look. Hello again everybody and welcome back to Fujitsu Blitz, and today we're going to look at the MT25, the Russian Tier 6 light tank, or what I like to call the Tier 6 Baba Yaga, primarily because it's a little bit like John Wick. I mean, once this thing gets going, boy, it's difficult to stop. Historically, it didn't exist, and a couple of interesting facts for you. The turret is actually a scaled down KV-1, believe it or not. May not look like it, but truly it really is. It was an interesting design. It's basically a tank with wheels wrapped around a caterpillar, and it was designed that way to give it lots of speed and mobility. And it's a funky looking tank, although some would argue it's actually an armoured car with tracks. I mean, MT actually stands for motor tank. And I mean, this thing was just a crazy idea by two Russian inventors during the war to get some really quick tanks going. And it's an interesting tank indeed from the historical viewpoint. Like I said, they never actually existed aside from in blueprint form, but it does in Blitz, and there it is in its armor profile. And as you can see, it at the gynae, it's pretty weak, but it's a light tank. And you know, let's be honest with you, no light tank has armor. If they had armor, then they wouldn't be light tanks, would they? They'd be borderline medium, or even going into the heavy, and they'd lose all that speed. So it's not a tank that's gonna really be an active frontliner. And as you can see, it's facing off against a KV-1S, which it will face in the game, and it's pretty penetrable almost everywhere. I mean, it's a light tank, guys. You have to face the fact this tank is designed for a specific role, and that role is not to sit on the front line facing off against the heavies. Now, it comes with 4 guns. It comes with 2 normal guns and 2 auto-loaders. One auto-loader has 8 shells in the magazine, and the other has 4. And this is the 8-shell magazine that I'm showing here. It has fantastic DPM of 2052. But it has pretty pants penetration. It will only do about 100. It will dish out 55 damage on each shell with a burst damage of around 440. That's the 45mm. You stick in the 57mm, that's only got 4 shells. Your DPM drops down to 1771, but your penetration jumps to 130. Your damage on each shell goes up to 90, and your burst damage drops to 360. So it's a sort of hit and miss, realistically, on which one you would prefer. Now, the magazine loading time on the 45mm, that's the 8 shell, is around just shy of 9 seconds. You stick in the 57mm, and that jumps up to just over 10 seconds. But as you can see, the lower gun is actually pretty effective. And, you know, you can really do a lot of damage with that little Tier 5 pew-pew gun, for want of a better word. Now, this is the bigger gun. It's still the auto-loader version. In fact, I haven't actually played it without the auto-loader version gun. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. What's the benefits of this thing? Well, it's got no armor, we know that. It's got HP of 870. It's got a pretty pants view range. It's absolutely got 0 gun depression at 6 degrees, but it's got good elevation at 25. So what is it about it? We know it's got no armor. It's speed. Going forwards, you will clock up to 72 kilometers an hour. Going backwards, you'll do about 23. And this thing is just unbelievable. You play this like a proper light, and you throw it around the battlefield like a crazy demented thing, and it really is the John Wick of Tier 6. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just got the ability to lay down a lot of fire very quickly. And, you know, as long as you nurture it, boy, you will have a lot of fun. I mean, I've already done over 1,000 damage. And, I mean, I shouldn't have blind shotted that one over the sides, but there you go, it happens. I love this tank. I mean, this tank is very quirky, very interesting, and really, really good fun to roll out in. As you see there, you know, we take a couple of kills and, you know, have a really good time. And here we roll out again in the same tank with the same gun. That's the 4-clip, higher 57mm. And, you know, you can give tanks a pretty hard time. Penetration does suffer, however. But you can do things like what I'm about to do in this thing. And this is why I love the versatility of this tank. I mean, I know there's a TD over there. He ain't going to get me. I'm too fast. Get behind the JP and just stick a load of pain into the back of him. I mean, I've just taken over 300 out of this poor JP. The MT25 there's got the same gun as me. I'm not too fussed about him at this moment in time. I'm concentrating on the JP. I want the JP gone. JP's gone. Turn. Still got 2 shells left in my magazine. Goodbye, alternative MT25. 2 tanks, quick succession. This tank is really, really good fun, but it ain't as easy as you think to play. And the reason I say that is because the armor profile isn't great, the penetration isn't great, and you're not dishing out oodles and oodles of damage. What you have got is a reasonable reload time with reasonable burst damage. Now, I've got the 45mm gun here, which is the 8 magazine, and, you know, okay, it's a good magazine. It has a lot more sort of firepower than the 4-clip, but it has less penetration, and that's the downside. But it has more burst damage. It dishes out a bit more damage than the 4-clip. And, you know, you can lay down a lot of fire very quickly. I mean, look at that. I mean, that AMX is gone. I didn't kill him, but I certainly helped getting rid of him. I mean, that's 391. I'm not setting the world on fire, but I'm bottom tier here, apart from the TOG 2. And again here, I'm going to give this Sentinel a really hard time. And we do. So, in the space of a few moments, look, you know, a minute and a half into the game, we've already been highly effective in taking out 2 of the enemy tanks. And this is what is so good about the MT25. It's got the ability to get you into trouble, but it's also got the ability to get you out of trouble really, really quickly. And depending on which gun you use, depends on how much trouble you can dish out. Now, I generally find that the 45mm is slightly better than the other 57mm, which is the 4-round autoloader. But it's a personal preference, guys. I mean, this thing, like I say, it's got a lack of penetration, but it does, when it does pen, put a lot of firepower onto the battlefield. And as you can see here, you know, you can be a real menace. This is why I call it Baba Yaga. It's as simple as that. I mean, it is a bloody nightmare if in the right hands and putting it in the right position. I mean, this poor IS, look at that. I mean, now we're instrumental in taking out 3 kills. Okay, we've only done 1,000 damage, but that's not the point. I mean, this thing is just an absolute nuisance on the battlefield. And, you know, like I say, look at this. T150, goodbye. 1,149, just a KV2 left. I mean, I do love this tank. It's a absolutely fantastic little tier 6. But it's not the easiest tank to get on with, mainly because of the armor. I mean, you have to appreciate, guys, this really is a proper light. And one of the problems with light tanks is people tend to YOLO in them, and they don't really understand how they work. This is me going out in the bigger gun. This is the 57mm on the same map. I mean, Mayan Ruin seems to be a good map for this one. So I've gone over, spotted up, and now I'm retreating. Or am I? No, of course I'm not. I'm just resetting the camo because it has light tank camouflage, and I'm going up to a different position because I know that the red team is going to try and take the C cap. Okay, there's one on the B cap over there, but we know that majority of them are around the C cap. And there you go, look. And here comes a T-34-85. Boom. Pants gun depression, really bad. That's another downfall for this tank, so you have to be careful. But once you've got it in the sights, I mean, look at this. I mean, you can just pop shots willy-nilly. Now you've got that longest reload of just over 10 seconds, so your time to move around, get further into the action, and put a lot of pain back onto the enemy. And this is why I love the tank. It is unbelievably versatile. I mean, I like light tanks anyway, but this one holds something special in my heart. I haven't got any replays on this games of me getting the ace in it. I have got a mastery in it, and it was absolutely good fun doing it. And this is the thing, I mean, this tank is unbelievably versatile, just if you know how to use it. And here we've done just shy of 1,000 damage, we've been instrumental in taking out some of the tanks, we've got to kill ourselves, and we haven't taken a hit yet. And this is why, you know, if you know how to play this tank, you can have a barrel of laughs in it. And seriously, you know, this thing has the ability to really, really hurt on the battlefield. And I can't underestimate it enough. This really is the John Wick Baba Yaga of Tier 6. Forget your KV2s. This thing is fantastic. Now, this is me rolling out on Oasis Palms, and I put this game in because I love this game. I don't set the world on fire, but what I do is mind play games with the opposition team. And I've already put into general chat that various tanks are out in the open, focus various tanks, and it's made them all move, which is really funny. I mean, it just works that way. And watch this, I say WZ camping in the bush, and then the WZ hops it, and I put a blind shot in, then I say that he's camping in the bush. He doesn't think that anybody knows him. By the way, it doesn't show that I've just hit him, but I did, as you'll see at the end of the game. I roll back, sit here in the middle, and, you know, hardly anybody goes to this middle spot. So I sit back in the middle, and then I tell my team the WZ is camping in the bush, which is why there's a bit of a pause here. That forces the WZ to take action. He actually relocates, bless him, because basically he now knows that the entire team are going to focus him. So he does a runner. Before this game started, I'd already said to the team in open chat, focus the KV2, which made the KV2 sort of do strange things in his game that he wouldn't have normally have done. And, you know, I like playing this psychological game as well as playing the tank game. And it's, you know, a lot of people don't play that psychological game. Yeah, they really don't. So here I am taking pop shots into the T14. Again, I'm not going to take him, but my mucker does. So somebody else on my team takes him out. And I know now that virtually the entire team, apart from Scavenger, by the way, is in the town. They've all legged it to the town. And there's the WZ. Look, he did a runner from the bush. Wasn't happy staying in that bush, and now we're going to give him a hard time. Okay, I'm taking hits from a Scavenger over there, but it's not a problem because I know that one of my team is over there, and I'm sort of keeping some of them lit up. And I just, this is how versatile this tank can be. I mean, I can't really stress how great this tank is in the right hands. And you need to get used to it. You need to get used to how it works. I mean, look at this for a shot. Boom. I mean, it's a brilliant tank. Like I said, in this game, we're not setting the world on fire. It's more to show you how versatile the tank is. Yes, we've lost a lot of hit points, but we've spotted a lot of tanks. We've put some fire down, and we've generally been a nuisance. And that's the whole idea of a light tank. You are meant to be a proverbial pain in the arse, and in the M25 you really have the ability to be a pain in the arse. You have the ability to absolutely annoy the opposition. Couple that with the psychological game I was playing with these guys, and it really annoys them. And as you'll see in a minute, there's the KV2. He's hiding. He's not going to shoot anything there, but he's hiding because I'd already mind played with him earlier. And now we can get shots in. I'm not penning him, but I'm being a nuisance. And this is the thing. I had a fantastic game here, and I loved rolling out in this little MT25. Okay, I didn't take any kills. I only did shy of 1,000 damage, but it was good fun, and that's the thing about these tanks. You know, we had a good time. And because I did all the spotting, and I played around with this, and I put rounds down, I still get a 3rd class, which considering I didn't take any kills and really do much, I was still, you know, getting a 3rd class, and that's nice. So, I mean, this tank has the ability to do stuff like that. It has the ability to be a pain in the backside. It has the ability to run all over the battlefield. It has the ability to put a lot of firepower down. What it doesn't have is the ability to have a gun depression. It doesn't have the ability to be a frontline tank, realistically, because it's got no armor. And it doesn't have the ability of taking oodles and oodles of damage each shot. It has the ability to put down some pretty decent burst damage, and depending on the gun you've got, depends on how much DPM you're dishing out. You stick that 45mm in, you're dishing out just over 2000 DPM. Stick the 57mm in, okay, your penetration goes up, but your DPM goes down to 1700. Either way, this tank is highly, highly versatile, and you've got to understand how it realistically works. And as I said earlier, it's not a tank for the... It's a forgiving tank, but it's not a tank for the faint-hearted, because a lot of people want to go out in this thing and do shed loads of damage. You can do that, but, you know, you've got to pen first. And the majority of games I've played in it, I've been bottom tier tank, so, you know, I'm struggling to pen some of these bigger tanks. But that's the fun of the game. I mean, the idea of the game, guys, is not to roll out in a tank and just kill everything, because that would not be a game then. I mean, that would be very one-sided. And, you know, Bushka recently released a video about play, you know, understand the tank, play the tank to its strengths, and play the tank to its ability. And that's no different to this tank. You know, you've got to realise it's got no gun depression, it has no armour, it's got pretty pants penetration, it's not dishing out massive amounts of damage, but what it does do is get you around the battlefield quickly, has the ability to put a lot of firepower down, even though you may not pen, to annoy the enemy and get the enemy to focus on you, and it has the versatility to basically be the biggest pain in the arse that you know. And at tier 6, that's good fun. I mean, I did a video on the VK28, another tier 6 light, and I said that was probably the best light in tier 6, and I still stand by that. And I think this is a close run second. I mean, it's a toss-up between the MT25 and the VK28. Both bring different things to the tier. I mean, this one brings not so much firepower as the VK28 in real terms. I mean, okay, this has got an auto loader, so you've got the burst damage, but I find the VK28 has got a better gun than this. But this thing brings more of a pain in the arse factor than the VK28. It's a lower silhouette, it's a lot faster, and the mobility on it is fantastic. And if you've got this tank and you haven't rolled out in it in a while, give it another turn, because it really, really is good fun. And if you haven't got this and you're thinking about grinding it, you could do worse. I mean, it's a really nice little tier 6 light tank. And like I said, I love it. I think it's great. And once you get used to it, boy, you can have some good fun. Anyway, guys, I've been Fujit, and that has been the MT25. A lovely little tank. And as I keep saying, it really is the John Wick Baba Yaga of tier 6. It really is. If you've got any replays, by all means send them to me, fujitsblitz@gmail.com. If you want to, comment and like or dislike in the section below. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, because it's a nice thing to do. I hope the review of the MT25, the tier 6 Russian light tank, has been useful. And until the next time, stay safe out there, have fun on the battlefield, and happy tanking, because that's what it's all about.